Good afternoon. Today we're going to do a new project. Um, this is the cover. It is a mini Churn Dash placemat, and that doesn't mean it's a mini placemat. This is one of the blocks for the placemat. You can see it takes 6 to make one placemat. And they're really kind of fun, and it's a great way to introduce a little bit smaller blocks that aren't quite minis. I think to qualify as a mini, if I remember my research, it must finish at 3 inches or smaller, and this one finishes at 3 inches. So you still use an add a quarter, you don't use the add a eighth, so it's not that tiny, but it will get you used to working with a little bit smaller pieces. And besides that, it's really kind of fun. And I am doing this one. These are all in Kansas Troubles fabrics. And who doesn't love Kansas Troubles fabrics? And I'm doing 3 colorways, so each placemat's going to have 2 of each color. This one's kind of a navy grayish, this background here. The background of the placemats is this multicolored tiny print. And so I pulled the kind of, I guess you'd call this a rust color. Get my lights better. Rust color. And the other one is the green. It's a dark green. You can see the little print there. Anyway, we're going to get started here. This is the foundation. There's 24 in the pattern. Takes 6 per placemat. There's enough to make 4 placemats. So let's get started. I think I have my pieces in order. I tried this morning to do it right. So this is piece number 1. I'm going to turn it with the wrong side facing up. No, that when the seam line goes all the way out to the broken line, it means stitch all the way out to the broken line. It means there's that there's no more seams crossing it until you actually sew the blocks together. So instead of back stitching, just run your seam line all the way out there. Now there are marks if it's just a short line that goes between the broken line on the outside and the solid sewing line. If it's just a short little line like that, that is a clipping line. So I hope that answers your question, Karen. Yes, you can do this left-handed. When I teach, I do kind of a mirror step by step with my students if they're confused at all. I always have to ask left or right because you can do it either way. It's not a problem at all. So let's get started here. This is fabric piece. The blocks are small, but the placemats finish at 12 by 16 and a half. So So that's, you can cut these apart. If you cut them apart, cut on that solid line between the broken lines. On this line right here, cut on that line. But I like to keep them all together. Just, to me, it makes it a little bit easier. Okay. So we have fabric piece number 1 with the wrong side facing up. We're going to set the foundation on top. And when it's like this, you want to be able to read the printing on the foundation. You want to set it so you have about 1/4 of an inch of the fabric going past the line between 1 and 2. That's what's great about our leave-in foundations. You can see through them, so you know right where everything is. Okay, so we have that in place. I put a pin back here just to hold it in place because we're going to turn this over. So the right side of the fabric is facing up. And then we're going to take fabric piece number 2, put right sides together where number 1 goes into space number 2. Just like that. And if you want, this one I found when I made the first one this morning, I can pretty much get it to the machine without pinning. But pinning is always an option if you have trouble getting it to the machine where it's supposed to be. So now take all the pins out. And we're just going to stitch on that line between 1 and 2. I shortened my stitch ever so slightly, just because you don't have a lot of stitches on the seam line. And we don't back stitch, just because if we go too far, we want to be able to pick at that last extra stitch. Okay, I'm going to set my seams, or my stitches, and then I'm going to open it up and press it. And I am using my small little iron today. When I get the whole block done, I do give it a good steam pressing with my big iron. This little iron does have steam in it, but not a lot. But it works good, especially in small places. Okay, so then we've got number 1 and number 2 done. Number 3 is over here. And this is the line we're going to sew it on. So we want to get rid of that extra fabric. So we're going to put our straight edge along that line where we're going to sew it on. We're going to fold the foundation back. You don't want to cut your foundation. And use the add 1/4 ruler. It's got the 1/4 inch lip, so it just hooks on there. And if you don't have add 1/4, I highly recommend it. You should be able to get it at your local quilt shop. And if you can't, we do sell them online. They're on our website. But highly recommended. And I always have that one student in a class who doesn't think she needs it till she sees how accurate everybody else is and easy. Okay, piece number 3 is a half square triangle that we've cut. And if you're with angles, sometimes it gets confusing on how to set your fabric. What I say to do is just set it the way it's going to go after it's sewn. And then just flip it over, flip it just like that. And put your right sides together. And then we're going to take it to the machine. And I'm going a lighter color over a dark, so I want to make sure that none of that dark peeks through there. Just in case it might make a shadow after you open the lighter fabric up. And we're just going to stitch on the line. Okay, and then after we stitch it, we're going to press it. Let's see, what's today? Thursday. I'm all confused. This week has flown by. Okay, and then number 4 is on this side. Trim just a little bit off, not a lot to trim on this one. And this is our piece, so we're just going to flip it over. Take it to the machine. This is a great introduction to working with smaller blocks. It will make you not afraid to try the mini quilts. Okay. Give it a little blast of steam. The smaller blocks, the pressing is more important than ever to get the seams to lay nice and flat. Okay, number 5 is right here in the corner, and this is the seam or the line where we're going to sew it on. So we'll line our straight edge up there, fold the foundation back, use the add a quarter, cut away that little bit of extra. Like I say, there's not much waste on this one. Now, if you want to speed things up, you can turn it around and trim for piece number 6 at the same time. Now on the cover, let me fold this. On our cover placemat, all 6 blocks are done the same. So this would be a good one to chain piece. In which case, I would stack my pieces, like all of my piece number 1, piece number 2, piece number 3, and so on, so that you don't get confused as to which piece is the next piece. If you're chain piecing all 6, if you're doing them individually like I am, because I have 2 in each color, I could chain piece 2 at a time. But these are all my pieces stacked up per block. So you can do it either way, or you don't have to be organized at all. You can just wing it. Okay, so number 5 goes like this. Again, if it's confusing as to how to set it, it's going to go like that when it's done. So then just flip it over and put your edges even. Just, don't let it stick to your finger. Put it just like that. And then we're just going to turn it over. And we're going to sew this line where it extends all the way out is only for if you're going to cut them apart. If you're keeping them together, you just want to start right at the corner there. And it'll be very apparent why in just a minute. But this side you want to go all the way out to the end. And this is something that you'll get used to doing. You'll know when to run it all the way out and when not to. Okay, we could have sewn number 6 on at the same time because they don't overlap or have, one does not interfere with the other. It's just until you're sure of the process, I hate to introduce more confusion. Okay, and then number 6, just like that. And we'll sew on the line. Just to the corner, since I left this whole thing in one piece, the whole block in one piece. It's got 3 sections, but I do it all in one piece. I probably take a little more time ironing these small ones. Okay, so there's section A is made. Now we're going to go to the bottom of section A, and this is a seam line right here where we're going to sew A to B. So I want to, just like all the rest, I want to trim this down to 1/4 of an inch. So if I would have sewn all the way out on that line, I would not be able to fold my foundation back on the seam line. So there we have part A done. Now we're going to start on part B. And number 1 is, I don't know why I stacked these up wrong. Number 1 is my contrasting colors. So we'll put it wrong side facing up, and we'll put the foundation on top with about 1/4 of an inch going past the line between 1 and 2. And I am going to put a pin to hold it in place so we can turn it over and take fabric piece number 2, put right sides together, take it to the machine, and again, you don't want to run your stitching all the way out. You want to start at the base of the block at the solid line and stop up there. If you had cut these apart, and I do have a lot of people who prefer to cut them apart and just work. And if you're chain piecing, I'll tell you, if you're chain piecing, it is much easier to cut them apart. I might just do that to show you the next, to do the two blocks that are the same color. And we'll press that open. And then we're going to get ready to add piece number 3. This is the line where I'm going to sew it. So we're going to fold this back and put our add 1/4 ruler there. Trim that little bit of extra off so I've got my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we'll take piece number 3, put right sides together, edges even. If your edges get off a little bit, it's okay. Remember, unlike traditional piecing, where you're relying on a perfect sized cut piece and then a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance, the only thing you have to be accurate on is sewing on the line. We tell you what size to cut all of your pieces, and there's a little bit of extra allowed, because this morning when I was cutting these, I was cutting 4 or 8 layers at a time. I guess 6 layers, whatever. But it's fine. If it's not perfect, it's okay. It's the line that gives you the perfection. So Cutting was always something that really, for traditional piecing, I still don't like to do it. I have gotten much more accurate, but I still don't like to do it. I get very nervous because I know that if I don't get it cut just perfect, my seams aren't going to be perfect. I think, yeah, that was an extra. And then we're going to put fabric piece number 4, right sides together, turn it over, and stitch on the line. I don't know about you guys, but this has been kind of a comeback down to earth week. I don't know. I mean, I know that last week, all the excitement leading up to well, last week we had the soccer game, and then all the excitement leading up to the 4th of July celebrations, and just everything. Just, didn't realize how tired I got from all of that. So this week's kind of been a come back down to normal week. It's been kind of nice, quiet. And then piece number 5. And I think I didn't look this morning, but I am pretty sure we have the churn dash block in a couple of, I knew I felt something folded. I think we offer it in a 6-inch and an 8-inch. I know we do in an 8-inch because the 8-inch one is what is in our modern sampler. I have always wanted to make like a vintage quilt, just all churn dash blocks alternated with a plain fabric block, all set on point. It's always been a very attractive one to me. I don't know why. Very vintage though. Okay, so now we've got part B done. I'm going to trim the top of it where it's going to sew to part A. I'm going to fold that back along the seam line where I'm going to sew part B to part A. And I'm going to use my outer quarter ruler, trim away this little bit of extra. And then I'm going to fold so right sides are together. And you want to fold it so that solid line is the fold line. And I press it. And then if you just want to make sure, you can put a pin right here, right there, and push it through to make sure it comes out. Perfect. So it comes out right where it's supposed to. Go on this side. Okay. And then we're just going to go out here and we're going to stitch all the way across. if you've watched me any length of time, you know that I am really adamant about keeping all my threads trimmed. Now let's open this up and see how we did. I think that looks pretty good. So then what I like to do is I like to slit the foundation along the fold. And then I like to press my seams open. It alleviates some of the bulk, because it'd just be way too heavy there at those seams. You'd have, I don't know how many layers of fabric. Oops. Well, my fingers would work. There we go. And then, like I say, when I get part C done and sewn together, I'll give it a good steam pressing on my big iron. Maybe this looks like it might be doing pretty good. Okay, while I'm at it, I'm going to trim the bottom of part B so it's ready to sew to part C. Okay, and now part C is basically a mirror image of part A. Okay, so we're going to start with fabric piece number 1, wrong side facing up. Whoops, I like to do that. Like this. And I put a pin in it. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to put fabric piece number 2 right sides together, even with the edge that goes into space number 2. Just like that, and flip it over. Let me take this pin out. Set those stitches. Now I think on my bigger churn dash blocks, I'm going to take my sweater off. It is foggy and cold this morning, and now the sun's come out and it's warming up. Okay, number 3. Right here, that's where we're going to sew it on. So we're going to fold this back. And if you want, at the same time, you can trim for number 4. Let's do it like this. I pull that back and make sure number 4 gets a little bulky up here, so that's why I just put my add a quarter down on just the part I'm making. Okay, so now number 3 is our half square triangle, and remember, set it the way it's going to go, then just flip it over so the right sides are facing each other. And then we want to flip it over so the foundation's up. And we'll stitch on that line. we'll get you introduced to a small block, and then we'll show you real small blocks in another week or two. I will show you another, a true mini quilt. Okay, and there's number 4. I guess I did number 4 first, number 3 now. It doesn't matter. Press it. I haven't worked with the vintage. Well, this is, I don't know. This Kansas Troubles. I haven't worked with Kansas Troubles fabrics in a while. Okay, number 5 is going to be the other half here. Fold that back. Trim that away. And I'm going to do the other side at the same time. Just saves a trip to the cutting mat. And for those of you who are new, I do these lives on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from noon to 2. Sometimes we quit a little early, sometimes we go a little overtime, but roughly noon to 2 Pacific time. And on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, my beautiful daughter-in-law Laura does a live, and she's always working on we always work on different projects. She does hers from 10 till noon Eastern time. And we'd love to have you join us. We're both gearing up for quilt shows in the fall. And then, hey, our favorite piece, the last one. Oops. Put that right sides together, turn it over, and it looks like it moved a little bit on me. So see, that's another great thing about being able to see through your foundation. You can see right where your fabrics are. And if you're new, you may not know, this gets left in your quilt. You don't have to rip it out like paper. So you use a regular stitch length. Whatever you would use for traditional piecing is fine to use with this. Since you're leaving it in, you don't have to perforate it to make it easier to get it out. This does not add any weight or bulk to your quilt, but it keeps everything nice and straight. Okay, so now we're going to trim the top of part C so we can join it to part B. So we're going to fold it back along the seam line. And I did see, this is what happens when you run your stitching just a little too long. And I don't, there's that stitch. Okay, I think that's good. Maybe one more. I was talking and not paying attention. There we are. I've never had it rip a hole in the foundation, but I don't want to try either. Okay, so there we have folded back on the seam line. Trim off all this little bit of extra. And there we have part C done. So now I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it up and I'm going to fold it right on that solid line. You want that solid line to be the fold. Give it a press. And this is not fusible interfacing. This is a non-woven that we have made for us. So it does not have a bias. So it does keep your biased edges from stretching. I don't know what. I think I need new glasses. Well, that doesn't look so good. There we go. And then just put a pin right here. And it goes right there. I'm a little low, but we can fix that. There we go. Perfect. See, I didn't fold it quite perfect, which is why I'm checking. That felt good, yeah. You can tell when you get right at the sweet spot. Perfect. Okay, we are going to sew this thing together. Put my needle down and take my pin out. I do not feel like battling a broken needle or a bunch of wadded up fabric. Clip those threads. Make sure I like it. That's pretty darn good. Okay. Split that fold in the foundation, and then we're going to open this up and press it. Press the seam open. Let's see, we would have oh my goodness, I don't know, about 6 or 8 layers of fabric at these seams. So that's why we're opening the seam allowance. And the foundation helps take some of the stress off of your fabric. So I don't worry at all about opening and pressing the seams open. And then before I trim it, I'm going to do my line of stitching in the seam allowance between the solid line and the broken line. I don't change the length of my stitches, but that way it helps to keep those seam allowances open. It keeps your fabric and your foundation together all the way around, because the corners are all loose from the fabric underneath. So especially on these small ones, you want to do everything you can to keep everything accurate. Far less headaches later on. But see how down here this corner's not attached at all? So when you would go to sew this block to another block, there's a slight possibility that your foundation could get moved, like say like that. See that bubble in there? That could happen if you're not very careful. But if you do this line of stitching, you don't have to worry about it. a minute, and it might save you having to tear out a seam. And to me, this little minute is well worth not having to tear anything out. Or not matching. Or whatever. Okay. Now this is when I'm going to take it over here to the big iron, and I think it turned off already. Come on. Come on, come on. This is why I don't like auto on-off irons. Because if I wasn't patient and I hit this too soon on the foundation side, I would have melted it. Oh yeah, see, a good steam and it's laying nice and flat. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to take it over here and we are going to trim it down. Where'd my, oh, there's my ruler. 1/4 inch from the solid line around the outside edge. And I did check this morning, and the broken lines on this one are pretty darn accurate. But I still suggest trimming with a ruler, 1/4 inch from the solid line. Okay, there we are. Now we have 2 of them made. And let's see, we can, you know what, I can show you how we put this together. We can do one corner. These are my, now remember we're doing this on the diagonal. So this is going to go here. This is going to go here. And let me grab a corner. This will go here. So this will be the corner. That would be this block right here. Those are the pieces. So all I do is put the right sides together. Match my corners. I'm just sewing on the solid line that's printed on the foundation. And if it's placed right there is where you want your line of stitching to end, right at that, right where this point sticks out. That means you got it right perfect at the 1/4 inch. So that goes like that. I'll press it after I sew this one on. This one goes like this. Right sides together, and we'll start down here. Right at that base of that V. take it over here to the big iron and give it a good press. And the fun part is, when you sew on the line, look at, you don't cut off the points of your churn dash. Beautiful. And now we're going to do the corner up here. And I'm probably going to, yeah, nope, that's just right. Whoops, nope. Want to center just like that. See how I have that point centered right there? That's just how we want it. And the seam line starts right at the base where this sticks out, and then that fabric goes that way. You want your seam line right there. That means you've got it lined up perfect. And that's right where we want it to be at this end, at the bottom end. And you can cut those dog ears off. Just get the extra bulk out. They don't serve a purpose. Okay, and then we'll give this a good press, and we'll have the start to our block, or to our placemat. And you know you got it all right, because your two edges here line up. I'm just going to cut that little dog ear off. And the same over here. So there we have the corner to the placemat. And then this block will go like this. And then we have a plain, an alternating block that will go here. And then another churn dash block. And of course one of these here. And that is the inside, you know, have another one here and another one here. You have six of these in a placemat. So we're going to keep working on making them. I think what I'm going to do is I want to show you how, if you cut, I have these separated in order per block, but I think we'll do 2 blocks and we'll cut them apart so you can see how to do it. If you want to cut them apart. And I'm just going to cut part A off. And I just cut it right along that fold line. I'll set these over there. Oh yeah, especially those stars. I'm sorry you have to rip it out. If I was there, I would do it for you. I always, when I teach a workshop, if somebody makes a mistake, I always offer to unstitch, because I figured maybe I must not have been so clear. So what I'm going to show you another way to set your fabrics to start with, and it's very important. I'm putting piece 1. Well, what did I do here? I'm putting 1 and 2 right sides together. But it's very important that you remember which one is 1 and which one is 2. Okay, this is number 1. Number 2 is there, right sides together. You're going to set your foundation on top. You want to put space number 1 on top of fabric number 1. Sometimes this is easier to do just like that. You've got 1 and 2 there together. I'm just going to twist it and put it under the needle. And we're going to stitch on that line between 1 and 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. 1 and put 2 right sides together. Edges even. Flip it over so you got number 1 on top, wrong side. And we're going to put the foundation on top again so that fabric number 1 is underneath space number 1. This is the only thing I don't like about chain piecing is I still have a lot of threads to cut. Until you get to the point where you can just feed them right in close and don't have all that extra thread between them. But I hate threads, so I love thread. I just don't like them dangling in my quilt. Okay, so then we're going to take it and we're going to press. The pattern for this is on the website. I think Laura has made it active. If not, it will be this afternoon at some point. And as soon as I make sure I have my fabric requirements correct, because I went from a 2-color to a 4-color. So I want to make sure I've got everything correct before I put that out there for you. But they will be in this Kansas Troubles fabric. We will have the fabric kits. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to trim both sides for piece 3 and 4. And if you were really confident, you could do A and C, A and C. You know, parts A and C because they're identical. Well, the mirror image of each other. So all the parts, you could just stack your parts up and, you know, have all your 1s, all your 2s, like that, stacked and just pull off of the stack. Hope I make sense. Okay, now piece number 3. 3's right here. So we're gonna put it the way it goes. And stitch, and this time I go just like that. We can do one more, and then we're going to do number 3 here. Flip it over. Turn it over. And then I'm going to just take this. Oops, there's those threads again. open this up. Just give it a finger press for now. And then this one is going to go like this. Just want to make sure you don't catch piece number 3 in while you're sewing piece number 4 on. And then I'm going to reach around and clip this one off. Open this one up. Just finger press it to keep it out of the way. This one's going to go like this. And then we will press these good. Oh, that one got a little twisted, but see, it doesn't matter. It was sewing on the line that made it perfect. As long as you have 1/8 of an inch or more in the seam allowance, you're good. I think I was talking on Tuesday about the Christmas placemats, how I've got one of each version of fabric kits that we've done over the years. No complete sets. Always have good intentions, but they never, once I get the sample done, it's on to something else. But I'm liking this. I love this Kansas Trouble fabric, so we'll see if I get a full set done for me. Hi. Glad you could join us today. Okay, now we're ready to add piece 5 and 6. So we will get started here. These really aren't too small to work with. Well, come on. Yeah, I think if I do these like this again, I'm going to do all of the part A's and C's at the same time. I can see that would go real fast. Now if I can get this. I think that should be okay. little bit of the selvage there. Okay, let's get these pressed. Make sure that's going to be, oh, no problem. Now, see, now these threads drive me crazy. I don't know why. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, I'm going to just trim just the inside part where it's going to be sewn to part B. We want to wait and trim the outside edges all. I prefer to do it once the whole block's together. But we need to trim this. And this. So there we have our 2 part A's done. I'll set them over here. And then where did I, oh, here's my, yes, most definitely I would do part A and part C at the same time because they're the exact same fabric, same order. So we'll remember that for next time. Okay, here's our 2 part B's. So we're going, and I put these in the wrong order when I was stacking them up a little while ago. Fabric piece number 1, number 1, number 2, number 2. Okay, so again, we're going to put fabric piece 1 and 2 together. This is number 1. So we're going to make sure that number 1 is behind space number 1 with about 1/4 of an inch going past the line. Did I do this right? I did it wrong. We want this one. I'm looking at, where's the one I made? Yes, our contrasting color is number 1 and number 5. So that's this one. Oh yeah, it's because you don't, and the easy way to remember that is that my outside fabric all around the blocks is the beige, so you don't want beige on the outside piece. That's the way to remember that. Okay, so now we're just going to stitch between 1 and 2. And we're going to put 1 and 2 together here. Flip it over. So number 1, I should just put number 1 on top. Want about 1/4 of an inch to go past the line into space number 2. Just like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. That went fast on stitching though. And then press these open. And then we're going to trim to add piece number 3. Fold that back. Now if you have trouble remembering to use the add a quarter, I tell my students, do what I did when I first started paper piecing. I took my add a quarter ruler and my grippy straight edge and I lined them up and I put a piece of tape around like this so it acted like a hinge. So when I put it down to trim, this would be hooked here. I'd put it down and this would be laying out like that. But it was right there, so it just reminded me to flip it over. Whoops. Yeah, it didn't fold that back and this was up like this, and so just flip it down. But if it's right there in front of you, it just was a helpful reminder until I just got really now what did I till I got really used to to the method. Okay, piece number 3, right sides together. Open that up and press it. Oh, I love this color. Haven't really decided how I'm gonna do these, if they're gonna have a pattern to them, like one in each row, or what I'm gonna do, or if I'm gonna stack the 2 bluish gray, then these two, and the other 2, or if I'm gonna do, I don't know, haven't decided yet. We'll just lay it out and see what it looks like. Pull this back. And then number 4 goes right sides together. See if I can get that to. And then we'll trim to get ready to add our last piece to the part B. And there's our contrasting fabric. This one. Those things will lay nice and flat. Okay, now we're going to use our ruler and trim top and bottom of this part. And the same with this one. Not too much to trim. I like to have just a little bit so I know everything's super accurate. Okay, let's join the part A to part B. There's that one. And this one. Put right sides together. And we'll put a pin in. I don't know why my lights don't seem, must be going blind. Put the pin right there where the two solid lines come together. And we know it's going to meet on this diagonal line. See, that's pretty good down. Right there. So you want it to come out right here. Get your edges up where they're even. You want that pin to go straight across. You can use another pin. You can hold this straight across and use another pin so you don't rock it off of the matching point. And then we want this seam right here, this seam line out to match right here. You know, after a while, you get pretty good at guessing where 1/4 inch is. there. And we want to match this one. I know one side nests and the other side doesn't. And I tried. A little too far down, right like that. And then we'll do the other end point. Remember, there's nothing to match this middle seam up with. So we want to put it right there at that point. And right there at that point. And again, I'll keep it. The reason these I rocked because there's no angle there. When there's an angle and you rock it, you have a much more likelihood of rocking it off just a little bit. We'll see how I do here. And yes, you can back stitch there. See if I have to, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's press this seam open. Get it started here. Okay, so now maybe you guys have convinced me to do these up, cut them apart. It's entirely up to you. However you're most comfortable. I do love this color. Okay, there's A and B together. Let's do this one. Put this pin in right here at this point. And it doesn't matter which one of these you put on top when you're joining them. Well, I'm really having trouble with my fingers today. I'll tell you, I have arthritis in one of my fingers so bad. I can barely move it. Welcome to old age, huh? Okay, let's... match this one to that, like that. Anybody watch Laura doing her Halloween Hunter Star quilt? I know she told me she was gonna get orders out and then she's gonna sew all day. I think she's anxious to get that one done. And I didn't watch today. Okay, or yesterday. Sorry, I'm on today, huh? Oh, look at that. Oh, yay. See, these two go in the opposite direction, but these two seams here go in the same direction. And I'm not sure that I could figure out a way to get them both to nest. Sounds like a delivery. Okay, there's another A-B section. So now we just have 2 part C's to do. And you know what? We'll have 4 blocks done today. That's pretty good. So see, you could easily get 1 a day. A week you could have these all done and not have to spend all day. Okay, I know this is piece number 1. And this is piece number 2 on these. That's where my confusion came from. I'm not confused anymore. Yeah. Okay, 1 and 2. And you want to put this so you can read the printing. There we have them. I haven't looked much at the bobbin thread to see how my tension is today. Don't want to get that cut in there. I don't know why sometimes it does that. It's not the best. It's acceptable, I guess, but not thrilled. You know, and I keep thinking this is a new machine, but it is about, what, 5 years old? So much for thinking chain piecing here. 1, 2. Okay. And now we're going to trim for 3 and 4 on both of these. Threads, go away, go away, go away. Okay. Number 3 is right here. Pull that back, use the add a quarter ruler. And number 4. One does not infringe or they don't touch in any way, so you can trim both of those. 1 trip to the cutting mat, and now we'll do this one. Okay, now we have the background Yeah, that's the inside. Okay, whoops, I got two of them here. It's going to go like this. So we're going to put it right sides together, just like that. I'm just going to run that on out, and we're going to do the same thing with this one. Well, come on. And I am going to press this before I try to sew the other side on. We'll do number 4. And this one's gonna go like this, so we flip it over. See, after all these years, I still do that. Okay, we get to trim to add our last 2 pieces. We're going to trim both for 5 and 6 at the same time. So yeah, this one it's not difficult. It is a small block. It's only a 3-inch, finishes at 3 inches. But you can see it's not difficult at all. And this will get you geared up to do the minis. I've got, finally, have a couple of new minis. We have, currently, we have mini heart blocks. I believe the hearts themselves measure about 1.5 inches. I think the blocks are finish at 2. We have a mini log cabin that finishes at 2 inches. We have a mini pineapple that finishes at 2 inches. We have a little 4-pointed star that finishes at 2 or 2.5. What else do we have mini? We have mini star, mini. Oh, we have a mini, a real good beginner mini quilt that has a lot of different layout options. Is the mini Arkansas. No, not. We have a mini Arkansas star, but we have the mini Roman stripe block. And there are so many different ways you can lay that out. It really is it's a neat one to do, and it's simple and but can be very striking. And I believe it finishes at 2 inches. And I think there's 16 blocks in most of the packages. I think the log cabin has 12. The mini pineapple has 16. The mini pineapple, you have to be pretty patient during that one, because there are, I believe, 45 pieces, and each log measures about 1/8 of an inch wide is all. Just slightly less than 1/8 of an inch. It's not as hard as it sounds. My recommendations for those minis are, don't cut your pieces too small. Oh, we have another one for Christmas. It's got 4 ornaments. Oh, we can do these. 4 ornaments in 1/2 inch by 1 inch flying geese. Makes a nice top and bottom border. But I do have some new ones coming out. I have a stained glass one that's very modern, very different. I have one of flowers in pots. I believe those finish, I don't know, I think at 2.5. When I started making minis, I had no desire to make a mini, but I had a lot of requests for minis. So I think my first one was the heart one. I'm not sure, but I think it was. And I really had fun doing it. So it got me enthused. And like I say, the most daunting part is most of the time people will cut their pieces way too small. I say never work with a piece that's smaller than about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, because you need to have enough fabric to hold on to while you're pressing it. And like I said earlier, the pressing on the small blocks is extremely important. And it's probably more important to use the steam, because you need to soften that fabric up so it will fold over and make a super crisp seam. Because when you're talking about 1/8 inch or smaller strips, if it's not flat, it's just not going to look really good. I have a friend in Arizona who saw the mini pineapple a number of years ago, and she sent me a note. She ordered the mini pineapple quilt pattern, and she sent me a note, and she said, I think it was like in February. I'd seen her at a show in January. And she said, I have challenged myself to make 100 of these blocks this year. The little mini pineapples. And I think when we saw her in September, she had 75 of them done. And she said, hey, Sandy. Oh, hey, thank you. She said she had it down to about an hour per block is all. So she brought a whole bunch of them to show me. They're beautiful. And then I think the next year she challenged her. She did get her 100 made in that year. And the next year she challenged herself to make 100 of the log cabins. And she uses them. She makes a lot of our blocks, and then she uses them in her own designs or her own layouts. And she'll use these 2-inch. She'll either put like 4 of them together to make a 4-inch block, or use them as cornerstones in her sashings, or between the sashings. So they're quite useful. Oh, and we have a mini, actually I don't know if I have that package separately. We do the mini square and a square. If you're interested and can't find it, let me know. I can't remember if I put it on the website or not. I use it in a couple of quilts. Match these points. Just there we go. Well, this has gone pretty fast today. This will be 4 blocks made. Hey, yay! And out to the corners. These should just, yep. Yep. Okay, let's sew this one together. I thought it would take a lot longer. I thought, well, we'll finish up on Thursday. We might just finish up. I'll get the other 2 blocks done, but then we can sew the whole thing, make the whole placemat. And somewhere around here, I hope to find before today's Thursday, Saturday. I hope to find the sample for the cover. Show you what it looks like with just 2 colors. And how I quilted it. I did little tiny, oh man, what do they call it? Feather, they're like a circle, a feathered circle. I was so proud of myself, and you can't see it on this picture. But I was so proud of myself for doing that. Oops, we got to get this hot. I'll let that warm up and get this one put together. this. Oh, you know what? My glasses are filthy. That might be part of my problem here today. That looks good. Okay. I hear my iron warming up. Let's. Oops. Oh, I love it. Let's get this one sewn together. Looks pretty good. Okay. Get that to lay nice and flat. That looks awesome. Okay, I'm going to do my line of stitching around here real quick. Well, see, there's no tension on that. Bob, if anybody has an answer to this problem, I would sure appreciate it. Oh, I haven't got a new iron, Sandy. I've been talking about it. The big one is my old trusty one that I've had for a number of years. I have these little steam ones everywhere. They travel with me. I'm going to be taking them to my classes. So if the venue ever forgets to put irons out for my class, I will have them for individuals. So I really like them too, and especially in tight places like a class. Okay, look at that. Oh, I love it. This is my favorite color. I love them all though. I think they're going to be awesome. So we have 2 of each color. Going to go like that, and this will go in between. And this row then gets a corner, and this one gets the bigger triangle because they're still this will be make up half. So this will go like that. But this one is the other corner. So it will go like that. And then there's the inner border and then an outer border to make it placemat size. So I think that looks pretty good. So, I won't bore you. I'll get the rest. I've got this one to trim. I've got 2 more to do is all. I will get those done, and I think I'd like to show you how I put it all together on Saturday, and we'll probably start another project. Not sure what yet. Stay tuned and be surprised. So if I don't see you on Saturday, I hope you have a great weekend. If I do see you on Saturday, let's have some fun and sew something fun. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day, a wonderful, safe Friday, and be sure to catch Laura tomorrow morning from 10 to noon Eastern Time. I'm not sure what she's working on. Don't know if she's going to start a new one or if she's going to finish up the Hunter Star, the Halloween Hunter Star. So check it out, see what she's up to. And I will see you back here on Saturday at noon our time, West Coast time, Pacific Daylight Time, noon to around 2. I'm almost to 2 o'clock, but I don't want to bore you anymore doing the same old thing. So that's it. We'll catch you on Saturday. Take care, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a little something, and keep on stitching and share what you're stitching. We'd love to see it. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.